are so glad that you could join us today for our celebration of the light that is Sandra duMonde. Sandee was our mother, and I am Kaya, her oldest.
And I'm Leslie, her youngest.
And Mom has always enjoyed writing stories and music and directing shows. So for her final celebration, the three of us worked together to create something unique and memorable for all of you. Now, at first, Mom was thinking that this would be a December-themed fundraiser for Santa Lucia, and that we would be walking into the sanctuary with crowns on our heads with little battery-operated candles on it. But we nixed that idea, and when we realized that she probably wouldn't be with us in December, we decided that we wanted to start writing a more Sandra-themed event as her fundraiser. As you know, Mom is not one to grab the spotlight, so it took us a little convincing to convince her that this should be her event. She agreed to help us design a way to celebrate her life and continue her legacy of dedication to this church. So today, just days after what would have been her 76th birthday, we are here to gather in fellowship and support as we all remember Mom and raise funds for her final gift to the church and to everyone in it.
Part of our goal is to share some of the original music that Mom wrote that was really important to her. You may recognize her first song. Okay. She wrote it back in the spring of '93 and sang it when we celebrated her adoption of her new last name, duMonde, which is French for of the world. And this is the song, I Am the Light of the World.
Doesn't have the lyrics to sing along, there are programs in the back if you want to grab them, because we're going to keep doing this. If you want to sing along, feel free to grab them and help us out here. As a longtime Unity member and as an independent minister, Mom knew that she and all of us come from and return to the light. And she was determined to make this event as light and fun as possible under the circumstances. So she chose the name Sandee's Follies to encourage people to share funny, silly, joyful memories, and she refused to let us add any somber reflections on life or death. Instead, she wanted things to go something like this. Sandra D. Fuller was born 76 years ago Thursday. She attracted a lot of attention with her beautiful red hair. She grew up in a quaint farmhouse on a 30-acre lot on the outskirts of tiny Gobles, Michigan. So let's see if you all can do this. Gobles, Michigan was so small.
How small was it?
Yeah, all right. All right, Gobles, Michigan was so small that 2nd Street was in the next town over. All right. Seriously. Gobles was bursting at the seams with just over 800 people. So everyone knew everything about your family, and you knew everything about theirs. Her entire graduating class of 29 people. That's a high school graduating class of 29 people. It was smaller than most of our grade school classes growing up. We're talking small.
Mom remembers her 5th grade teacher telling the class that they were going to make maps of Gobles and learn the names of all the streets. Mom was very excited by this, so she went home to tell her mother that she was going to learn all of the street names. Her mother didn't understand why Sandee was so excited, but Sandee knew that if she learned all the names of all the streets while Gobles was still small, and she could keep track of the new ones, and she would know all the names of all the streets when Gobles got big like Kalamazoo. Even as a child, Mom believed that everything had the potential to become bigger and better than it was before. Maybe that's why she enjoyed writing so much. With a paper and pen, she could create worlds. With a little imagination, she could share those worlds with all of us.
And in October of 1967, a very pregnant Sandra was no longer even able to sit up, and she had to eat her meals laying down. A full 10 days after her due date, she finally became a mother when I was born. And in 1969, she had Leslie.
That's it. That's it.
What?
That's it. You get a dramatic story of October and due dates, and I get Leslie showed up, and that's it.
Yeah, you're a mom, you know, toddler, newborn, things get a little fuzzy, the details get lost.
Fair enough.
Mom has always had a great sense of humor. She wanted the Follies to reflect her joy and to make people laugh. So I think the most fun that we had growing up was singing together in the car on road trips. We sang along with the radio, we sang unity songs, we sang kid songs and folk songs, we played with vibrato and harmonies and rounds.
Mom taught us songs that we sang together our entire lives. We sang this one over and over.
We continued to sing this one over and over.
Literally, it was one of the last ones we sang while she was passing. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love.
One more time, I'm hearing you guys.
Bind us together, Lord, bind us together with cords that cannot be broken. Bind us together, Lord, bind us together, Lord, bind us together with love.
And there's another song that we sang a lot of.
Yup.
This one you might,
The love can build.
you might recognize this one. We're gonna put it up on the screen and you've got the lyrics in there. If you know it, you wanna sing along, feel free.
And it's the karaoke version, so it tells you when to sing what. It's perfect.
You could drown us out.
I'm voting for that. Gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet, to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly, every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Go Eric Clapton. When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, anything. Keep believing in the power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yes, I do. Whoa, love can build a bridge. Love and only love. In your heart and mind. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Mom wasn't always perfect, but she was always creative. Not long ago, she told us about one memorable time in Brownie Scouts.
Do you want to sing one more time?
No.
We got more to go through.
We're good. Mom wasn't always perfect, but she was always creative. Not long ago, she told us about one memorable time in Brownie Scouts when she was recruited to compete in a cartwheel contest, which she happily did despite having absolutely no idea what a cartwheel was, beyond the actual wheel of a cart. Still, she was convinced that she would probably have won if she'd only known that she was supposed to turn her body over and not merely pantomime the turning of the wheel of a cart. But her abilities improved quite a bit, and when she was in college, she discovered a new theatrical opportunity when she accidentally lost her student ID card somewhere on campus. As she went to U of M, I don't know if everybody knows that. She went straight from high school to U of M, where she met our dad. So the young gentleman found it and managed to convince Sandee to meet up with him in order to retrieve it from him. Now, this was an older classman. I don't remember if it was she was younger, he was older. That was important to her, that was part of, yes, that was part of the story. While the actual meeting wasn't particularly memorable, the scandal it caused with her roommates inspired Sandee to write a skit to perform for the incoming freshmen. Sandee and her friends acted out a modern Cinderella drama where she transformed the symbol ID card into her Freudian slipper. I think you had to have been there to really appreciate it, but went over well and established Sandee as a creative director, a role she played repeatedly throughout her life.
Though Mom had been raised a Methodist, she discovered the Unity Church shortly after becoming a mother. The Unity of Kalamazoo Sunday School quickly became her second home, and the energetic, musical, inclusive atmosphere inspired her to write several original musicals, including at least 4 different Christmas shows, a version of the Christmas Carol rewritten for Halloween, the Halloween Carol. That one was only seen in Oklahoma, so. And a handful of shows about Bible stories, including Daniel and Company. Now, this is the one that she remembered the best and the song that she remembered most. So we're going to share that one with you. And in case y'all were sleeping in Sunday school, Daniel and his friends were recruited by the king to become elite members of his court. Y'all know this story? Yes? No? Okay. Because Daniel and these other boys were all favored by the king, they were offered rich foods and wine for every meal. And some of the boys, y'all over there, they were really excited about it. Rich foods and wine sounded great to them. However, Daniel and company, and that's all of us over here on this side, they didn't want the king's food, and Daniel and company chose a diet of only vegetables and water. So we're gonna sing "We Love Our Veggies" loud and clear while they're singing about rich foods, and that's how this song goes together.
But first what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through each one twice through. Figure we'd do each individual part twice through for everybody to, because once you put them together, it gets a little bit more confusing, which is just the way Mom loved it. just to keep people on their toes. So, but we'll go through each one on their own 2 times through. So we'll start with the rich food song. That's. We like eating pecan pies, scoops of ice cream piled high, French fries, cream pies, cakes and candies too. We like rich foods, don't you? Ready? We're gonna do it again. We like eating pecan pies, scoops of ice cream piled high, French fries, cream pies, cakes and candies too. We like rich foods, don't you?
All right, you guys got that part.
You may have noticed that one was a little sluggish, because rich foods apparently are heavy. The veggies, not so much.
Yep. All right. So this side, we're going to do veggies. Are we ready? We love our veggies. We love them all. Artichokes to zucchini, the big and the small. We eat our veggies and grow straight and tall. Oh, we love our veggies. We love them all. All right. That was pretty simple. We can do that. We'll do that again. We love our veggies, we love them all. Artichokes to zucchini, the big and the small. We eat our veggies and grow straight and tall. Oh, we love our veggies, we love them all. Okay, here's where it gets fun. All right, my veggie people, are we ready for this? All right. And we haven't actually heard the accompaniment for these two together, so this ought to be really entertaining for all of us. Okay. We like eating pecan pies, scoops of ice cream piled high, French fries, cream pies, cakes and candies too. We like rich foods, don't you? Do we have to do that again? We don't have to. Okay. Do we want to do it again? Because I'm more than willing, but I'm not required. All right, moving on. Mom delighted in watching us perform. Whether that meant writing a Christmas pageant and then casting her grandchild in a leading role, or encouraging us to start a traveling singing troupe, and booking gigs at various churches, meetings, and events, Barb. Sharing the Light wasn't just the name of our 4-person a cappella ensemble. It was the title of our opening song. Oh, he's not doing this? We were a cappella, so I told him to set it out. Oh, that's right. Okay. The light, the one eternal light, shining through my soul. The light, the everlasting light, in it I am whole. Soaring, soaring, as through my life it's pouring. The light,
the one eternal light, shining through my soul.
I don't want to do that one again, because they're just starting to get.
Okay, that's fair.
This is another one of the ones that we sang to Mom.
The last, yeah, so several weeks, but definitely the last moment.
Yep.
The light, the one eternal light, shining through my soul. The light, the everlasting light, in it I am whole. Soaring, soaring, as through my life it's pouring. The light, the one eternal light, shining through my soul. And I do want to point out that Mom wrote that one because we didn't specify it, but yes, that was definitely one of her originals.
Teaching us about the light and helping us to teach others about it is what Mom's life was all about. I think you can all agree with that. When Leslie got the call from the Jackson Hospital back in March, we brought that light back to her as best we could. Despite the official COVID restrictions that only allowed for one visitor, we arrived as a united force and managed to visit her as a pair for an entire week before someone decided we needed to play by their rules. As time went on, we continued to share our light with Mom. Leslie probably captured it best in a journal entry from August 1st.
Okay, and I'm gonna read this exactly how I typed it at the time, other than the one typo, but it does break Mom's rule, because it does talk about life and death a little bit. So, as I sit in this final recliner watching Mom sleep, I watch the gentle rise and fall of her chest, and it hits me hard to realize that soon there will be a time when we are watching ever so closely for this, aware that it will cease any moment. Time is not the enemy, but not necessarily our friend either. Time now is a gift. This time is bittersweet but precious. I thank the universe for this time of togetherness and send off to whatever comes next. I concentrate on not cursing the knowledge that our time is limited, but sometimes the unfairness of it hits me hard. 4.5 months ago, my mother was an independent woman living a busy life, running a church nearly independently. This church. And I think people who are here will probably recognize that when I say nearly independently, I'm not really exaggerating. Since then, she has suffered several strokes, lost the use of the left side of her body, and been consistently hospitalized or institutionalized. She's been told she would never go home, then that she would, then told that she would not. She's been poked and prodded, diagnosed with colon cancer, and told that she has a very limited life expectancy. She's gone from nothing by mouth to a pureed diet with thickened liquids to a low fiber diet to an unrestricted house diet, back and forth many times. She's been through a stent placement procedure, proposed to avoid pain down the road, but the stent was ultimately rejected by her body. And then she was told that that stent should never have been placed and that they wouldn't put another one in, leaving a cloud of uncertainty about the pain levels to come. She's moved rooms, facilities countless times. I lost count when we arrived at number 11, which if anybody knew my mom knows that her moving 11 times in the last 4.5, 5 months is beyond appropriate. My mom was a mover. She did not stay in one place. She was a nomad by very definition. This has been the strangest and the longest 4.5 months that I remember, but it has also been a precious gift, time that I wouldn't trade for anything, time to reflect, healing time, bonding time, precious time.
And now it's time to share. Mom wanted funny stories and a talent show, but we're really easy to please, so if you don't want to put on a talent show for us, I guess we'll have to deal with that. One of the last visions that Mom shared with us was of 4 angels who brought her a plate. And the plate was broken into 4 pieces, and each one represented a part of her life. She was a little fuzzy on this, but she did recognize that one of the pieces of the plate should hold her small white Bible that she got from her parents when she was 5 years old. So that's here. This is the Bible that she got from her parents when she was 5. But this is the Bible that she got at down at Unity Village in their youth education department. And this is the one that she actually had in her apartment. This was in with her collectibles and her memories, This is the Bible that really meant the most to her. This came to Directed Community Village Christian Education. If you knew my mom, her dream her whole life was to be a director of Christian education, because at the time when she was young, she didn't realize she could be in this. So that's the first piece of the play. We decided the second piece would hold her family. She has here. Here, the t-shirt, her picture of all of them on it. It's a little old, those kids are a little grown. But she kept this as well. This was precious to her as a family. That's plate number 2. The piece of plate number 2. For number 3.
Oh, I didn't get, oh, you got the card.
I got the card. Number 3 is travel. We've got her passport. A little blue card, which I would love to drive around. And we found a Discover Switzerland book among her things. We didn't know she was planning a trip to Switzerland, but so travel is the third piece of play. But there's one more piece, and we had no idea what to put on it. So we're gonna leave it up to you. If there's anything that you have, a story, a piece, anything that you have to share. Put this here.
To represent the empty part of the plate.
Represent the empty piece that you all can bring up as you wish. If anyone wants to share at this time.
Any stories, any items, any songs, any whatever, anything that anybody, the talent that everybody was called out to provide.
The
And
microphone here, if you want to be on camera, because we're zooming out. We've also got, Mark has a microphone that if you want to just sit in your seat and not be on camera and let us share that way. Oh,
Yeah.
wait a minute now. You knew there were options. All right. Fine.
she's getting her glasses.
All right.
Figure maybe she was just running from the camera.
Can everyone hear me all right? Last night, I sat down with my thoughts about Sandee. I'm an emotional person. All you guys that know me know that I might have a few tears, so don't worry, I'm fine. Sandee was a person of integrity. I value the times we shared during and before Friday night gatherings, unity, church services, classes, and events. Serving on the church board together, discussing out our Monday night Hicks meetings. Or the time the 3 of us traveled by van with Sandee to Asheville, North Carolina. It was 3 or 4 days together to hear an Aramaic New Age speaker, Dale Allen Hoffman, teaching us how to truly breathe. And that's when I got to know Sandee even better. Sandee not only explored the world geographically, she explored ideas and emotions, ways of communicating in life itself. She was very well read, and I was always thankful for what she was willing to share with us. I believe she wanted to live life with greater purpose. Sandee was a seeker of knowledge and of God's truth. She may not have had the vast material riches of the world. She was content if her needs were met. However, she was very rich. She had depth of understanding and character and wisdom. Sandee, you will be missed. Thank you.
Hi, I am not a public speaker, so I might say a lot. But I was Sandee's youngest granddaughter, still am. And I was a little late today, and that might be considered rude, but I think my grandma would be okay with it. I actually stopped to get an icy at Speedway because I felt that, I just felt it, that grandma would want me to just take a moment and breathe. And that was our favorite thing to do, was get ices. One of my earliest memories, and I know Mom said not to mention it, but I got lost at the zoo, and that was a fun core memory, you know? I remember being with Grandma and looking at the monkeys, and then I turn around and my grandma is gone. But Grandma was always on the move. She was never staying in one place, and that's something that I really could use to keep with me. Another memory was having a sleepover, and she was doing Reiki in the morning. I had no clue what that was. I was about, I don't know, maybe 6. And I was just so fascinated with it because she was moving her hands and I was just like, what is happening? I knew it was important. I knew it meant the world to her, and I had no idea. But I think being one of the youngest, or being the youngest grandkid, helped me become very close to her, because I feel like when she was very involved in our lives, everyone else was older. They were teenagers, and I was very moldable and very young, and I just looked up to her so much. I loved her so much, and she was one of my closest grandparents. And I wish I had been able to spend more time with her. I don't think I appreciated her as much as I should have, and that really kills me because, you know, I got comfortable and I got stagnant, and I wish that she had known how much I really appreciated her. And I hope she does now, after visiting her at the hospital and trying to be there as much as I could, and I really appreciated that time. And I don't know where to end this, but I love you all, even though you might not have met me before. And yeah, that's about it.
It will not be COVID, and we will not have to wear masks. One thing for sure, Sandee would have not hid behind a mask. She was out there. She was a part of the world. I have known her since 1980. Through her, I knew these two beautiful people. I knew her grandchildren, even though you probably don't recognize me, but we went to numerous plays at Myland, and we went to numerous garage sales. We had numerous garage sales. She and I are both ministers, and we would travel to different places, usually with her driving, because she was more comfortable with her driving. If you know her, she was always the one that wanted to go somewhere. I was part of the Sharing the Light group. That was fun, interesting, as these two were. We got together, we celebrated birthdays, we celebrated Christmas. We saw lots of movies together. We shared lots of books back and forth. We went to Mexican restaurants, and probably the owners of the Mexican restaurants were getting ready to say, we're closing, because we'd usually wind up sitting there and talking half the night. We moved her several times. When I first met Sandee, her last name was Overmeyer. Then we had a TP with her changing her name to duMonde, where the song came from. And then she didn't want to be Sandra anymore. She wanted to be Sandee. All of these things were a part of her evolving and changing, because she went to being over the world to being a part of the world, was the way she described it. She was a special person. She has been a valuable part of my life, as have her daughters and her grandchildren and her mother. We have shared laughs. We have shared tears. We have shared a deep closeness. And I will miss her, but I know that she is very much with us. She will continue to be with us, because in spirit, she does not die. She will be more a part of us. And sweetheart, just a minute ago, you said you hoped she knew how much you cared about her. She knows. She's still with you. And she loves all of you very much. Thank you.
Teresa, and I knew Sandee's more serious side, I would say, but going off of the idea that she loved to travel, and what I learned from her is how much she loved to learn, and she went to so many workshops. And there was one workshop about a technique called Psych K, and she was willing to teach it to me. And we spent an afternoon together, and she said, all I want in return is for you to bring a meal, because she was living with our dear friend Pat, who's here today, and Sandee was a cook for them, her and her husband, and she lived with them, and that was their arrangement. So I brought dinner for the family, for the whole group, and I still benefit greatly from Psych K. I've used it 100 times. It's very valuable. And there was so many different groups I was in with her, in the church and outside the church, and her input was so wonderful, and I always valued it. There was one thing we did at the church. I was cleaning my bedroom the other day, and it was that little activity we did here, and you can't see it probably, but there's a mirror here in the middle, and it says, "Who am I really?" And I don't know if this was an activity that Sandee did or somebody else, but we had to make a list. It was an admiration list, and basically it was the premise that whatever you like about somebody else, you also have it in you. And so this was, I guess, from what I remember, affirming that you have it as well. And so I was just reading through the list, and Sandee was on my list. So, for example, they have an example at the top. I admire Aunt Esther because she is so loving. And so what I have for Sandee is I admire Sandee so much because of her steadfastness. And that's what I really appreciated about her, because she just seemed so grounded and centered and peaceful. And yeah, I always appreciated that about her. And when we had so much drama here at the church, and she was at the helm, so to speak, I just felt very confident and safe that she was there. And so I'll always remember that steadfastness from her, and try to carry on the torch of her spirit and her light and her love and the sincerity of all of that she had. Thank you.
My name is Marcia Bergstaller, and I'm from the Unity Church in Kalamazoo. I've known Sandee since probably the mid-2000s, when I was able to take my Reiki training from her and became a Reiki master through her training. After that, we stayed in touch, and she was one of those people that I might not hear from her for months and months at a time, but I kind of kept track of where she was. She checked in with me occasionally, and we just kind of, it was just occasional. Well, then she moved to Kalamazoo and stayed with my friend Connie, who was having some severe health challenges, and she stayed with Connie and helped her through a really, really hard time, and was such a blessing to be with her, and it was just an opportunity for us to be together again. I might go for 6 months even without hearing from her, but I kind of always knew where she was, or I knew I could pick the phone up and check on her, and she would do the same. She'd come to Kalamazoo, we'd go out to dinner, we'd catch up on the family, my family and her family, and what was going on, or things that were happening, and with the church, because she'd been connected with the Unity of Kalamazoo for many years too, off and on for many, many years. And I'll miss her a lot, because I just always thought she's going to be a phone call away, and now it's going to be different. But I was very blessed to have her in my life, and I'm very honored to be here to recognize her as the great person she was. And thank you.
I'm pretty emotional myself, but I'm okay too. Sandee was so inspirational. Every time she walked in this church, she made a difference to people. Her meditations were deep filled with spiritual teachings and brought me to my center. I would feel so peaceful it would last for days. Her speaking and the way that she researched inspired my newfound love of the Unity teachings and lit the fire of me really delving into the early works of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. And from that, I thought, well, I think this is the place that I want to be at home. This is going to be my home church. I live in another city, like a lot of other people. So it's a drive from Holt to get here every Sunday. And it was always a very, I get so excited to come to church. Then when it came to the new members ceremony, again, I thought, wow, yeah, I think it's time. And I didn't know what the ceremony was going to be called. And so I got there that day and we went through the ceremony. Sandee was so intuitive and plugged into a level of grace that made a big difference in my life. I was kind of nervous that day because it felt like a big commitment to me. And so I didn't realize the title of it. When I finally woke up during the middle of the service and realized she had called it Phoenix Rising. She had broken the rules of everything that she knew just because she had a hunch that she was going to do this old ceremony that was a part of a phase of her life for us. As she began that, and it was my time to acknowledge my part of it, I had this flash, oh my gosh, I have a tattoo on my leg. In 1995, at a huge turning point in my life, I got a tattoo. I had overcome a huge chunk of difficulties, and I had a phoenix put on my right leg as I stepped forward into life. And it dawned on me, oh my gosh, this is the Phoenix Rising. And there was like this energy wave that went through me that was so strong. I firmly believe that that ceremony was the beginning of a spiritual rebirth for me. Sandee didn't know that, and she wasn't one that really took a lot of acknowledgement from something that happened, but she made a big difference in my life. So as she started the 12 powers this year again, I was really excited as we continued that on. So from Spirit, I know that she gets it now, and it's okay. Thanks.
And I don't know if this is going to reach. It does. I was hoping it wouldn't. Then you wouldn't hear me sing. But here it is. I record some music, and I listen to it when I'm on my bike on going to Concord, and on the bike trail. And I'm listening to this song, and I hear something. I hear a voice, and I wonder, whose voice is this? Is this my voice? And I'll let you decide. And I'm just going to try to remember some of those words as I play. I see you. I am here now. I am peace. I am love. I dance with life. I move with you. I dance with Something like that.
I plan to be last because I've listened to a song that just, you think you guys are emotional, at least you got to talk. The song that, it's just, represents Sandee's life. She's always there when somebody needs her. And this is my offering. It says grateful.
If this is my last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I wanna say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? No, not fortune or fame, they scatter to the wind. Things that make a name just don't matter in the end. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to hear. It's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and sky a little more blue. Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit bright where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a giant stood a little bit tall 'cause of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on if I am out of time?
That hit me really strongly. And I just want to thank her so much, because if it wasn't for her, I would not have some of my best childhood memories. I remember going to grandma's and making gingerbread houses and watching movies by the fire, and that wouldn't have happened if she wasn't such an open, caring person. So I just wanted to say thank you.
All right, well, I kind of want to explain what's going on after we leave this room, kind of orient you to what's happening out here, since this was originally supposed to be a fundraiser. Mom wanted to raise funds so that we can get an assisted listening system in the church. It's something that the church has needed for many years, and so that's what we're raising money for. That's why we're holding the baked goods hostage, so that you can donate some money and get access to the items that have been donated, the goods, and so that's what's happening over there. If you want to take a look at the fundraiser, we've got photos and memorabilia.
Sign in.
We've got a guest book.
Please sign in.
So if you please sign in, the message, we've got colored pens so you can make it pretty, whatever you want to do. On this side, there's a keepsake table, things that we found in her apartment that we didn't have use for and we didn't want to just donate. We wanted to allow people who cared about her and may have connections to things to see if there's anything there that speaks to you, that Mom might want you to take home with you, so you can add that to your piece of the plate. Is there anything else? We've got, Pat has put a glorious spread out for us in the fellowship hall. That's open again. They're having fun in the kitchen and creating community back there. I know Mom would have.
Appetizers, but no sugar, because the sugar's being held hostage at the bake sale, which is donation. It's just a free will donation for the bake sale, but yeah, we're holding them hostage.
Yep, now that we have explained how things are gonna leave afterwards, we want Belle to come up and do our closing prayer, and unless somebody has something else to share before she gets up here, y'all better rise up.
She's gonna sing our closing prayer for us.
Yep.
I'm a little camera shy, so I said I'd only sing if I could be here. Dave has helped me put this together to our protection prayer. It's a very powerful prayer, and I think this is, whenever you're in any kind of a negative mood, this prayer will give you strength. I'm going to, Dave and I are going to play it once, so you'll see how it goes, and then you've all been given a copy, and it's the second time. It'd be nice if you sang along with us. Surrounds us. Everybody now? The love of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. God is. God is.
I want to thank everybody for coming, and everything in the narthex is out there as explained, and appetizers and beverages are in the fellowship hall. So look forward to talking to everybody there. Thank you so much.